All right, guys, so we're back again with Khaled, who competed at the Pittsburgh Pro qualifier and did extremely well this year. So tell us a little bit about your experience. How was it competing not only a second time, but at a national level with some big guns?
It was surreal. I think what a beautiful experience it was, first and foremost. Prep-wise, I think the prep went very well. Second time around, I knew what to expect. I knew, the ups, the downs, the everything. So that was better. The show itself was incredibly well run, very well organized. I think we were able to grow a lot more compared to the first one, and I think that's why we did extremely well that time. So no, it was a great experience.
Yeah, and what would you say was like the biggest difference between your first show and your second show? Like apart from like having run through it a second time and kind of knowing what to expect. What do you think helped you kind of dial in better conditioning, bigger size? Like, was it like a shift in mindset? What was going through your head?
I think it was, I knew what to expect. I knew what I needed to do. So I did that very, very well the second time around. I was a lot more prepared in terms of meal prepping and everything. So that was even easier on that end. I think the other thing too is I didn't let loose after the second show, which helped. I think it helped a lot. It's not like I gained a ton of weight that I then had to lose and then start building all over again. I didn't quit the gym. I didn't leave for 3 months. It was really, I had my fun and, no doubt. And I'm sure everybody that's going to see this that knows is going to know. I had my fun, but I went back to business fairly quickly and it was great. It was fun.
Yeah, and this is usually what creates like the best off seasons, right? It's like, we have the will and the want to like cheat for like 3 weeks endlessly. Yeah. But truthfully, after like 2 or 3 days, you're kind of like over it, and you kind of just miss the routine.
Yeah.
Get right back to it, and then you just like more driven to kind of just like continue to stack on the building blocks.
Yeah, I think after the first 3 days, I was like, all right, this is great, because the first 3 days you have everything that you wanted during prep, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, you're like, it's not that great after all, No. And you start trying to. At least for me, there was this big fear of I don't want to lose all this hard work that we've been putting in.
Exactly.
Because it took a lot to get to where we got, and then now I'm gonna waste it all over whatever it is that I'm gonna cheat with. So there was that fear too.
Yeah, and that's something that's always surprised me with a lot of athletes in general is how they work so hard for like 20, 24 weeks, but not just that, like the whole building prior to that. And you just throw it out the window because they just can't control themselves after a show. They just binge endlessly, and it's like the food's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So like, why do you feel the need to completely destroy a year's worth of work in 2 weeks because of, being restricted for a little while?
Yeah, it was. I think that's probably the biggest challenge, right? Is that you get that mindset where you're like, I may never have this again.
Yeah.
You're gonna have it again. It's not going anywhere, right?
Not going anywhere. Like McDonald's is still gonna be across the street.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the pictures. You were there. You saw the junk food I had.
I told you, bro. I'm very, very ambitious. If you think you're gonna eat all of this,
but it mentally, your body and everything is telling you, no, you need to have it. Like now's the time to shine, right? And then you start eating a bit, and you're like, was it really that great? Did I really miss out on that much? And there was a lot of things that I bought like before the competition, and I was like, this is not that good. Like now that I can have it, I'm like,
you're like, buff. Yeah. Things tend to look and taste better when you're in prep and you're restricted.
Yeah.
Like you start to develop like these taste for flavors that you've never really craved before. Like I never really gave a shit about Pop-Tarts, and then all of a sudden once I was in prep, I was like, damn, these look good.
Peanut butter is what did it. Remember at some point we added some peanut butter, and it was like the biggest joy of the day, It was just having that peanut butter. And now I love peanut butter, but it's one of those things that you build. But no, it was all in all, it was good. It went well. Energy, as expected, tanks a little bit towards the end, So you start learning. I think I was better this time around at trying to figure out how to conserve energy.
Yeah.
So you don't try to do too much. We still had the medium-carb days, so any day, any chore I had to do, that's when I did them during the medium-carb day. So I'm like, let me utilize this as much as possible, because then I'm gonna have to take it easy. So it was just, all in all, very good experience.
Yeah, and I think it was a little tough for you because you were ready for the show so early, so you had to like cruise at like 6% body fat for like 10 weeks.
Yeah. That was, talk about a good problem to have, you know?
Most people don't even have that problem. They're like, you know, fighting to make it on show on time, and you were just like, all right, we're chilling at 6% body fat 10 weeks out, you know?
Yeah, that was that was an interesting challenge because, you know, I'm expecting from the first show, okay, great, we're gonna cut something out. There's gonna be some type of action or movement. And then it was, no, you're fine, just keep going. No, you're fine. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm fine? And you're like, no, like if we deplete you, you're good tomorrow or like next week, you know? Yeah. And I was like, okay, so that took, not a toll, but it got me thinking a bit. So I'm like, okay, great, we just need to like, keep going, just keep going. Think about tomorrow, think about tonight. Don't think about next week, you know? And then eventually when we cut, we were great. So can't really complain there.
For sure. And how do you feel about, you know, your placings and everything at the show? So we did 3 categories. We did the novice.
Yeah,
we did
the Masters and the Open, right?
Yeah, and then the Open Class A.
Yes. So we got second, and third. How do I feel about it? Phenomenal. In all honesty, walking in, I was, you know, it's a national show that turned into a worldwide show, which was scary in of itself because you're like, well, who's going to show up to this thing? So there's people from like Japan and Norway and Spain and Brazil. So that was a little stressful. So walking in, I was like, yeah, you know, hopefully we just place. So we didn't go through all this, and you know, we flew. So I flew from California, you flew from Montreal, my brother flew from Montreal. You know, the rentals, the this, that. We didn't do all this for like not even placing. So the fact that we placed in pretty much every single category, I think it was great. I think the judgment was fair. Second, and third, I think it was fair. I could definitely see why number 1 was placed number 1. And it's funny because I talk to people and they're like, you're so cool about it. You're debating 1%, 2%. We're not debating, it's not like a material difference between you and the other one at that point.
Yeah.
So no, placement-wise, it was great. I think it was fair, it was accurate. I was very, very happy. I think we did extremely well with the back. Back was considerably bigger, and that was great because I think that helped me out a lot.
Yeah, so. It was one of the weaker points, right, too, along with the posing, and you know, found yourself like a very good posing coach, and he did some very good work with you. So shout out to him.
Yeah, Richard Fry, thank you.
And what was going through your head, right? Because I'm sure when you're on stage, you were probably having flashbacks of like the first show you did, and like not placing in certain categories. So like, what was going through at the moment when they called you for second place and like not being in the second call out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was surreal, right? Like it was such a shocker. So what happened was they called me for the first time and they're like, oh, come on stage. So I was like, okay, I think I did good. Go out on stage, get the medal, and then I'm walking back off stage and the guy goes to me, wait, stay here. Give me your medal. And I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna take it away for some reason. And he takes it and he goes, okay, go back on stage. So I'm like, okay, I don't know why I'm back on stage. Maybe I'm on the sides or something. So I go back on stage and I get a second one. And then I'm just over the moon because I'm like, oh my God, 2 is insane. And when it came back out, he looked at his paper, he looked at me, he goes, stay here again. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, you're doing pretty well. And he's like, go back on stage. So we had a little moment and I go back on stage, get the third one. And I'm like, this is way better than I could have anticipated ever. Like I couldn't dream of a better scenario.
Yeah, and you were against some pretty, you know, some seasoned guys, you know, some people that had competed for a while, you know, they have like top coaches and stuff.
Yeah.
And, I'd like to think that like, you know, all that aside, like you earned your place up there, right?
Oh,
like
100%.
You gave these guys a run for their money and, you know, second place, 2 categories, third place in was it the Open that you got in third?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I don't remember.
I just got excited
but
that I got
it was, you know, like, it wasn't handed to you. Like, you fought for that and you deserved those placings, like, wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I think, I definitely think we did excellent. In terms of coaching, I think, you know, a lot of these guys go after all these big coaches and stuff, and it's good, right? But the personalized approach is what I think more important. You know, I've heard of, and I've seen some other competitors that, you know, either couldn't afford to get their coaches there or whatever, and I'm like, but that's the moment that you really need them, that last few, I think that extra mile just, it helped so much, you know, even pumping up. Like I remember at some point I was just waiting in line and you're like push-ups and you just yelled push-ups. And at that time, I clicked on your voice and it was super loud and everything. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. And it just dropped down and I started doing push-ups, right? So having that coach there with a personalized approach throughout time, throughout the whole prep, I think is important, right? Because yeah, you can give me your plan, like, okay, great, good luck, you know? But no, you need that, like, how's your day going? What's going on now with life? You know, okay, are you stressed out? Are you sleeping? How's the food? Are you enjoying it? Are you, like, tolerating it?
And I think this is where a lot of people tend to get, like, a little bit lost. Like, not to throw any of the big coaches under the bus, but just based off what, a pure assumption at this point. So a lot of, like, these, you know, I guess you can call them like high-level competitors, like national level, you're pretty high level, who go and hire these big-time coaches who are coaching a lot of guys in the pro ranks and have hundreds of clients. I feel like their attention to someone who's not a pro is just not the same, right? And you're paying top dollar to get this top coach who's giving you like a mediocre service.
Yeah.
And again, I know this is factual in certain cases. I've heard it from some people. But I'm not saying every top coach is like that. And then it makes like smaller coaches like me be overlooked, right? They're like, oh, you know, he doesn't have any IFBB pros that, you know, he hasn't got any pro cards and all that. But it's like, well, we need clients in order to get the shot to have and turn people pro, right? And I have a few guys competing at the national level, and I, you know, got some guys who are good candidates for pro cards. But, you know, sometimes it's like, give the smaller coach a shot. It doesn't mean they're good because they haven't worked with 1,000 clients. You know, and I think like people just need to be a little bit more open to that.
Yeah, 100%. I think going after these big coaches, I'm sure some of them are amazing. I mean, it's not like I know all of them, but, you know, one of my biggest concerns, even on the first show, I remember you came with me to the athletes meet. I did not remember. We walked out of there and I could not remember anything. And it was a dumb mistake because I'm like, I can't remember what time I have to show up tomorrow with that. And I was like, what do we do? And you're like, okay, tomorrow you have to do this and this and this and that. And I started writing things down. But yeah, the smaller coaches oftentimes will work extra hard to make sure that you're doing good, you're comfortable. Like you flew out to Pittsburgh, you know, so that it's huge just to have your coach there. And I looked at the others and I'm like, it's a stressful time to be alone and trying to figure out, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right pump? Like, you know, oh, I need to go get oiled up, or oh, I need to expand my lats more, or whatever, you know, practice posing. A lot of the backstage was practice posing. So when I stepped on stage, I was fairly confident with my posing. I was fairly confident with what we had achieved, and I was very happy with it. So I'm like, yeah, whatever happens, we did great.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be, you know, one of the most important things, just making sure that, you know, you were supported throughout the whole process. You had a good time. You enjoyed it. You know, you put your best foot forward every step of the way throughout prep. And you just had, it really comes down to that support.
Yeah,
right? I think the support is the most important thing.
Yeah, and timely too. You know, like a lot of times I would text you and I'd get responses like very quickly. And to me, that's a big thing because I understand you have other clients too, but to me, I'm sitting there going, I don't know, like I'm at a standstill now. What do I do now? Right? So to get an answer quickly is wonderful to me. And I can only imagine some coaches, and I've heard stories from other coaches that like take too long to respond, or like you got to hunt them down and chase them and whatever. Where you're like, if I'm paying, like you should treat me like anybody else, whether I'm pro or not or whatever, you know?
Absolutely.
It shouldn't matter at the end of the day.
And I think a lot of people price their services according to the level of support that you get, which is, you know, something I tend to do, you know, for like my higher ticket clients like yourself. It's, you pay for that level of support. For the lower tickets, like if they're asking me a question that's not entirely pressing and I don't have that, you know, moment to spare to answer them, I'll respond to them when I can. And I had a conflict with, you know, one of my clients, and who was telling me, you know, like she felt like I wasn't giving her the proper attention. And, you know, I explained to her, I'm like, well, you know, it's not even a price thing, but it's like I give what you get. You know, you have the ability to schedule a call with me once a week. And you choose not to. So for me, it shows that you're not really giving incentive in, you know, on the coaching aspect of things as an athlete. And it's like, what's the point I was trying to get at with this? It's like you want more out of your coach, but you're not willing to put in the work as an athlete. And like the whole coaching, it really not just boiled down to you submitting a check-in and me responding to it. There's a whole other basket that comes along with this. And if people aren't taking advantage of this, well, I mean,
Yeah.
What do you expect?
Yeah.
Right?
Not
But
much you can do.
in terms of the response rate, I think especially when someone's in prep, like they should be high priority.
Yeah.
Like I do try to keep all of my clients on the same lines, but I will give more immediate attention to someone who's in prep because
for sure.
you know that there's more stressors kind of
Yeah.
in the equation at that point.
Yeah, and prep makes you like overthink a lot of things too.
Yep.
Well, you're tired. You're hungry. It wasn't even the hunger. Honestly, I never really got hungry. It's just I had a lack of energy, and it makes you think so much. Like, oh my God, am I doing this right? Am I doing? So it was a lot of reassurance. For me, it was a lot of reassurance. Am I doing this right? Like I stare at myself in the mirror every day. So I'm like, I mean, is it good? Is it not? I have no idea. You talk to people like, you look amazing. Yeah, great, but you're not the judge that's gonna judge me when I'm on stage. So I appreciate it, and I think it's great, but you get so hyper paranoid. And I was telling people, I'm like, unless Jesse's gonna tell me you look ready, then I'm not ready. Mm-hmm. And I need to keep pushing and you gotta go harder, and everything in you tells you just stop and go sleep, right? Because you're exhausted. But yeah, no, it was a great experience. How was I as an athlete?
Well, you already know. I can't ask anymore. Like your check-ins are done on time. You book calls when it's necessary. You ask questions. You're very present in the whole coaching thing, which for me are key factors, right? Like, and I have some clients that do the same. But for me, a lot of it goes. I always encourage people to book the fucking calls.
Yeah.
Right, because it's more interaction in real time. So if there's questions that need to be addressed, there's no delay of time between someone sending a message, you responding, going back and forward. I think the calls are extremely important. You can get a feel for the person's temperament, how are they feeling, how are they looking. There's a lot of visual cues that kind of go along with that. So for me, I'm more of a visual person. So like, I always encourage people to book in the calls. I find it's a lot more of a personable approach. So the fact that like we weren't skimping on any of this, I think as an athlete, I could not have asked for more. Like you crush it in the gym, you get your cardio done, you eat all your meals, you don't cheat on your meal plan, you don't skip meals, your sleep is good. Everything, every box that needs to be checked off has been checked off. So there's not much more I can ask for you as a client. And I'm sure you can pretty much almost say the same for me as a coach, right? 100%. I know there are some areas that I can improve on. Like I know that, but I think overall the dynamic that we both had, it works. It worked
and
it worked very well.
Yeah, I mean, we competed the first time together, it worked well. And that's why going into this the second time, I was like, we have to do it together. It wasn't even an option. I don't think I gave you an option either. No. So yeah, I think my only thing is you have to come to the show and let's do this. And that was it. So, it was great. For me, it was a great experience, despite all the ups and downs and all that stuff. But what kind of advice would you give to someone that's thinking about hiring a coach and competing, or maybe just hiring a coach? Should they hire a coach just for, weight loss too? Because I mean, I'm not competing now, but I think having a coach, to me at least, gets me very grounded.
Absolutely.
It's all organized for me. I have a meal prep. I have this. Everything is like set up for me to succeed.
And I just had a call with a prospect yesterday. And this was one of the main points. He's like, what makes you different from another coach? And I answered him truthfully. I'm like, truthfully, not much. I'm like, a lot of us coaches who have the knowledge base, we provide the same thing as everyone else. We provide the nutrition plan, training plan, supplement plan. Most of us, or some of us who have the knowledge, we review blood work. We go through pretty much the A to Z. We all provide the same things. I'm like, what differentiates us is our approach to certain things. Yeah. And how personable you are with the person, right? So I think when it comes to working with a coach, you want to work with someone who, you have good communication with, you have a good relationship, because I don't want to say it's an intimate relationship, but it kind of is, right?
Yeah, it really
to a certain degree, it kind of is.
Yeah.
So you want to develop this relationship with someone who you have a good vibe with, right? It's, there's some coaches where I have conversations with them, and I'm like, like, this is not someone I would ever consider hiring. I can't even have a conversation about a regular topic. Imagine paying this person for a service when I feel this way is just, meaningless banter. Yeah. So I think, how you feel in that relationship you can develop with that person is probably the most important thing, right? You want to have a coach who you feel comfortable communicating with, and there's a level of kind of friendship that kind of gets established in
100%.
that. There's the business side of it, and then there's also the friendship side of it. And I get it, sometimes it's very hard to not mix the two, but I think ultimately when it comes time to hiring a coach, yes, you want to get someone who's got the experience, they have, the receipts to back up their work, but ultimately, someone that you can, you feel comfortable working with, and not just chasing a big coach because they're a big name or they have 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, I think for me, what I like the most is the less thinking I have to do, the better. So I know I have a meal plan, I have a workout plan, and I came from a point where I thought it was a good point. I mean, at some point I was at 9-point-something% body fat on my own with my workouts, my diet or whatever, right? But there was that like level that I was never gonna attain. So to have someone that says, here's your meal plan, here's your workout, here's what you need to do cardio-wise, here's everything you need to do, execute on this and you will hit the goals that you're gonna hit, I think to me is the winning strategy, because it's one less thing I have to worry about. I just need to go do. And as long as I do, I'll get. So it's a fair deal and it works out for me. So to me, the holistic approach of I'll take care of everything and I'm here if you need me, when you need me, any questions, works great.
Yeah, and I think it's also delivering on those promises too. Like a lot of coaches will say they're available, they're there, they're present, blah, blah, blah. And realistically, when you need them, they're not really there, right?
What's your take on the, I've seen a few ads on Instagram, will get you shredded in 60 days.
That's bullshit.
What's your take on that?
It's bullshit.
And you can't, but
and it's funny because I was talking to the person who's doing the marketing with me, and we were talking about exactly that. Like those are called offers, right? So it's like you try to make someone, you try to show someone the end result, and the end result is work with me and I'll get you ripped in 60 days. Now anybody can make a claim like that.
Of course.
But it's almost impossible to back it up.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't get ripped in 90 days and I can take all the drugs in the world, do all the cardio, do everything. It's not, if someone's 20% body fat, okay, and they're opting into this program to get ripped in 60 days, how realistic is that?
Yeah.
It's not. And that's why I've never put out those types of statements, because I don't believe in them and I don't think it's true.
Oh yeah.
And I get it. Yes, you can get great results in 60 days, but to use the word ripped and in 60 days, well, you're gonna get all kinds of bodies that are gonna come to you.
Yeah.
Some people can't even get ripped in a year.
Yeah.
So how can you make such a statement and be okay putting out to the public?
Yeah.
I would feel like a liar and a cheater.
100%.
And I don't like that. And that's why I never make these promises. And people ask me, they're like, how long do you think it would take me to see abs? And my response to them is, it'll take as long as hard as the work you put in.
100%.
Right? That's what it is.
100%. I think the abs part is such a holistic approach. And it's not something I really knew before, but it's such a holistic approach where it's your workouts, and then you have your cardio, and then you have your diet, and you can't really cheat, and you have to do that for a very long time.
Well, exactly. And just because you follow everything for 1 month, it doesn't mean you're going to lose 30
very
pounds.
long time. No.
Yeah, but some people in their head, they think, they've been eating like an absolute monster for 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay? They'll step into this office, they'll sit in that chair, and they'll say, do you think that I can get abs in 4 months? And then my question to them was, well, how many years has it taken you to get to where you're at now? And then they'll say, 10 years. And I say, great. So realistically, do you think it's possible to get abs in 4 months when you've been eating like a fat fuck, excuse my language, for 10 years?
Yeah.
And some people are convinced that they can. And I think some people are so detached from reality because they have been living in this fictitious world of Instagram and TikTok and all these people that just kind of sell a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of warping people's perception on what's a realistic goal and not.
Yeah.
And I absolutely hate it because, again, you're cheating people out of their money and you're creating these body image issues. And some people even fall into depression because they can't get ripped in 2 months. They think that they're the problem, they're doing something wrong. And reality is just like, it takes time.
It takes so much time.
It takes me, when I work with my coach, we do a prep along the lines of like 20 weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're not starting off from being...
And I'm not starting off from being fat. And it's taking me 20 weeks to prep.
Yeah.
And this year we're doing 24 weeks.
Yeah.
So someone who's been lifting for 17 years, who has a level of experience, who's not starting off from being extremely fat, takes 20 weeks to get ripped, or 24, and we're talking like peak level conditioning here. How can you expect someone who has not stepped into the gym for, ever, 30% body fat, has no knowledge on diet, has...
I got 2 months.
Yeah, and expect to do this in 60 days. To me, it's just beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
I get from their perspective, they do it to drive urgency and make people want to come in because it's a goal that everyone wants. But at the same time, I would not feel okay putting out a statement like that because I know it's not possible.
You're gonna fail. Like it's
I know
gonna
it's not
fail.
possible.
And that's the other thing too, is that people would tell me like, oh, I've been eating healthy for X amount, and I'm like, whatever time frame you think is long is actually not long.
No.
Like a month is not long enough.
You've been eating like shit for 30 years. You're on a diet for 2 months, and you think that's a long time?
You have to keep going. And then the whole debate of what do you eat, right? That's why I like the plan that we have, or having a plan, a meal plan, because I'm like, I just don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like I know exactly what I need to eat.
And you're eating things that you enjoy.
Yeah, and then it's easily accessible. Like it's things that I can get my hands on. It's not like crazy things that I have to start. I don't like cooking. I don't appreciate it. So it's not things that I have to sit there and start like sauteing, and it's very like, what can you get access to? What do you have access to? You have access to this? Okay, I'm going to make a plan that works for you. And that's what I appreciated at the time.
For sure.
But I think overall, people thinking like, oh yeah, I eat healthy. I'm like, what do you eat? Like, let's really go down into it, because I used to think I ate healthy. And I worked out and I was at like 9-point-something% body fat, which I thought was amazing, right? And now we were on stage, I'm assuming less than 6 or maybe around the 6.
Probably like I would say to 5.5, 6%.
And it's like, wow, no, like you think you're eating healthy. You're absolutely not. Quantity, what's the quantity like? What's the macros like? And you get so granular.
Yeah, but these are extreme levels. Like what you were doing before, I would still consider to be healthy, because the average person is not 9% body fat.
Yeah.
And this was like your walk around percentage. Like you were living comfortably.
I was happy too.
Yeah,
like
at 9%. And it wasn't like very hard for you to sustain, right?
Yeah.
The average person, like I'm telling you, some of the things these people tell me, if someone's coming in here, okay, like visually obese.
Yeah.
Okay? And they're gonna sit here and tell me that they eat well. They're like, no, I don't need a nutrition plan. I know what I'm doing. I just want a training plan to lose weight. Their mind is so skewed. I'm like, no, you don't need a training plan. You need a nutrition plan.
Oh yeah.
This 100%. This is the problem. The
100%.
nutrition plan and the training plan will work hand in hand to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah.
But you can't sit in this chair with a gut that's going over your pants and tell me that you know what you're doing with nutrition.
Yeah, it's I think the nutrition part is often overlooked. I think people think, oh yeah, I work out, therefore I can eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
Or people actually don't have a concept of like what eating well is. Like I think they're just so far detached from the reality of nutrition that they've kind of convinced themselves that what they're doing is good.
But people don't know, and that's why I think that the right approach, when you find a coach, find someone that's gonna be like, I will give you everything, you just execute.
Well, yeah, and you need to find someone who's not gonna lie to you either.
Yeah. Right? But it's not about lying, and that's what I always told you. I'm like, if we're not ready, you need to tell me we're not ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we're not good, you need to tell me. If I'm not doing well, you need to tell me, no, you're not doing well.
Yeah.
So that's really my take on it. Is get someone that can like take care of it.
I think transparency on both ends is important, and this leads me to a point too. You know, I had a client who competed before you. You know, one of my female figure athletes, and she had worked with someone, and he wasn't fully transparent. He's like, "Yeah, no, you'll never do well on stage."
Wow.
Right? And she did her figure competition, and she fucking slayed it.
Oh wow.
She looked great, and yeah, she's in the Masters. She's over 50, and she looked fantastic. She's more ripped than some people in their 20s.
Wow.
So like, I think full transparency is very important. So maybe he just didn't want to prep her or whatever, but like to look at her and be like, no, I don't think you can do this. When she told me that, I was like fucking shocked.
Yeah, I think as a coach, the real question should be, what do we need to do to get you there, right? Like,
well, exactly.
You know, okay, maybe it's another show, maybe it's later,
exactly.
Maybe whatever.
A good coach will be like, yeah, okay, maybe this year, no, next year, possibility.
Yeah.
Right? But to just tell someone flat out no, I think there's got to be a level of transparency and like explanation behind it.
Yeah.
Like if someone came to me and they're 6 foot tall and they're 130 pounds, they're like, I want to compete in bodybuilding, and be like, maybe in 3-4 years, we're going to build up that muscle mass. I'm not going to say it's impossible for everybody. Some people just don't have the best genetics.
Yeah.
But I think everybody can make it to stage, and everybody can have that level of presentation, which is, deemed necessary for stage.
Yeah, I honestly recommend it for anyone that can do it. I think it teaches you learn so much along the way, from nutrition to the workouts. It's funny, after my first show, I thought I learned a lot, and I was like, yeah, okay. And they were like, you need to grow your back. And I was like, I have no idea what that means, right? Like, okay, sure, I'll go harder. But that's where you get a coach that can say, no, this is how we're gonna grow your back. Because I'm like, I thought my back was pretty good. No, it wasn't. And then, you posted a picture of side by side, and I saw the difference, and I'm like, wow, this is substantial. Like, we're not talking about 2% better here. We're talking about significant in size,
Yeah, like your back has grown substantially from last year to this year.
And you don't see it. The problem is I don't see it.
Of course.
And that's the other reason why I don't understand how some athletes go and just compete without a coach, because I'm like, I look at myself every day. I don't see the changes.
That's the thing. It's, even me too. I'm having these complexes sometimes where I feel I don't look good, and then I kind of have to like touch grass, and I'll take a picture from last year and I'll take a picture from this year, and I will compare that and be like, okay, you don't see it in the mirror, but like the proof is in the pudding. And then you have to look at the pictures, and you have to kind of like, this is why it's hard to coach yourself as an athlete. You have to really separate the emotion from the process and treat yourself as if you're treating, a client. So like you'd have to like take your pictures, compare them, look at your weight, compare them, and be like, we visually have made some progress. And then just kind of treat it like that. But it's very difficult.
It's extremely hard. I had a hard time. Like even up until like maybe a month before prep, I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I really didn't think.
Some people had this.
Am I good? Am I not? I have no idea.
Jordan had the same thing last year. I remember I was in Mexico, and he called me, and I'm sorry for calling you out on this, Jordan. He called me, and he was blasting me on the phone. Oh, fucking too small. I'm not ripped in. Blah, 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 blah. I was like this on the phone. I was looking at my girlfriend. I was like, can you believe this? So I let him finish. I'm like, are you done? He's like, yeah. I was like, if you want to hire another coach, go ahead. And I hung up on him. Literally. I was like, if you're not happy and you don't think we're ready, find another coach. And I fucking hung up on him. He called me back 2 days later. He apologized. Fast forward, I don't remember. I think we were like, 13 weeks out of that? Fast forward, he won the overall at the FitLock Classic. He won the overall at the Mimi Capes. And he came 5th in his first national showing.
It messes with your mind so much,
This is where you have to trust your coach, and you have to separate your own emotion from it.
You have to just be like,
because you're gonna look yourself in the mirror, you're gonna think you're small, and you're gonna go down this rabbit hole of like, I look like crap, I feel like whatever. Just detach the emotion, listen to your coach, and if you have a truly honest coach, he'll tell you, you're not ready, or you're ready. And you just have to listen to what they're telling you and just execute on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I told him. I was like, Jordan, get out of your head.
You're good. That I think during prep, your head is your mind was my biggest enemy.
Your mind wanders. So you need people to kind of ground you. Like for me, it's my fiance. She's like, you look great, and I'm like, okay. I want to believe you, and I will try my best to believe you.
But
we're good.
It's challenging, huh? But it was still good.
Tough. You're your own worst enemy.
100%. No, it was good. All in all, it was a good experience. It was great. I think we had fun with it too. Or as much fun as possible. I mean.
So what would be, like let's say some leaving remarks. What would be your piece of advice to someone who's on, about to bite the bullet on competing? Like, what would you tell them?
Really do your research and find a coach that you can see as a friend, a coach that is able to take care of everything for you, so you execute. And you're not, I don't agree with this, no, I can do my own meal plan, just give me the workout plan. No, I need someone to take care of the whole thing, because then they're in control of all the bits and pieces. And I just get to execute. So find a coach that you appreciate, that you can talk to, that you can deal with on a regular basis, someone that knows what they're doing. And honestly, don't cheapen out and get whatever that needs to get done, so that you can just, at the end of the day, you have your meal plan, you have your cardio, you have your workouts, you have everything's taken care of, and you just go and execute on that.
And what would you tell someone who wants to really self-coach themselves because they don't want to invest in a coach? Because I've seen it all over Instagram. I see a lot of people who self-coach themselves to stage, and no disrespect to them at all. Like, I know you probably worked hard and everything. They look like crap. They don't look very good on stage.
A good luck is a really good luck, and maybe, you know what? I'm sure there's somebody out there that's great, but that's the 1%. The odds of you doing it on your own, I just don't think it's realistic. Like I think back of when I was in prep, there's no way that I would have sat there and looked at my pictures and analyzed, okay, how am I doing? What did I look before? What do I need to do meal plan wise in my macro? There was just none of that. I didn't have the capacity for that.
I prep a lot of guys, and I prep them well, and they do well. I have a very good track record of athletes who place top 3 in a lot of shows. I think last year I had 2 athletes who didn't place in the top, whatever, in the top 3. And I had told them, I'm like, you're probably not going to place, but it's not even about placing for you. It's about where you were to where you are.
Yeah.
They were very well aware that they weren't going to place, they weren't going to win.
Yeah.
And I have a coach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, I think it's very important to get a coach, at least for your first show. Because a lot of guys look at themselves and they're like, yeah, I look good. I think I have a shot. And they'll go to a show where there's 3 people in their category. One guy's fat, one guy has no idea what he's doing, and they place 3rd, and they have this whole inflated ego thinking that they look great. When realistically, if they were actually into a show with decent competition, the judges wouldn't even look at them.
Oh yeah, and we've seen it in Pittsburgh. I mean, and you end up getting demolished because
like that one guy. But like he was a little bit off.
Yeah.
But like some people, I think really should just, at least for your first show, hire a coach so you actually understand what level you need to be at to compete and be competitive in the shows.
And I think after your first show and after you've hired a coach, I don't think you're going to be like, second show, I don't need a coach. I think you'll be like, no, I think I need a coach the second show too. Because then I have to do all these things.
When you're really in the trenches working with someone and you know what it takes, after someone telling you what and the level of effort that goes into it, you will never want to prep without a coach again.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It just, I would not have the mind capacity to do all these things. I mean, it's too much. And it's nice to have someone that's a sounding board, and it's nice to have someone, that's also been going through prep and doing stuff and understands the struggles, and hey, I'm feeling really exhausted today, and you're like, no, I know it's because of this, and that. So it's nice to have that versus just like, why am I feeling like this? Should I be cut? Like a crazy example, should I cut carbs now or later? I have no idea. I have no clue. And lucky me, I just get up and I look and I'm like, oh, this is what we're doing today. Okay, great, But like, when do you cut carbs? Why now? Why later? Like, one of the things you did was we were experimenting with my carb-up day. I'd competed once before. It would have never crossed my mind to do that.
Yeah.
Like, what are we actually looking for? All these little things are like, no, we're going to try doing it Wednesday, and we're trying to do it Thursday, and we'll see what happens Friday. Yeah. Oh, no, Friday's too close.
Yeah. Because we went into this show, so the carb-up, for example, like one thing that I was looking at and being very meticulous with it, because we aren't using any, black market diuretics. One thing that I looked at, which was information I took from the first show, was how much water you held after the carb-up. Right? So like, we carved you up very early in the week, and we kind of tapered it down because your body takes a few days to get rid of water.
Yeah.
Some people, like Naro, for example, I carved his ass up right up into the show because he does not hold water.
Yeah.
And this is something that I look at meticulously for every athlete, and why it's important for me to have my athletes in condition, a few weeks out before the show, so you can test these variables. Because a good peak week and a good carb up can be the difference between someone looking flat or full on stage.
Yeah.
And this can be the difference between second place or second call out.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's knowing all these. It would have never crossed my mind. I would have never done it. I mean, and it's also not like, it's not something I would have thought of. So somebody that's coaching themselves, would they really know to test these things out?
A good coach will.
A good coach will, for sure. He'll be like, no, we need to. But somebody that just, I passed my first one and I placed, or maybe I didn't and I think I could do better. You won't know all these little ins and outs, and like, hey, maybe you should test this out. Yep. Maybe if you move it by a day, it's going to make a big difference. So no, I don't suggest anyone competes without a coach. I think having a coach even after competing is good.
Yep. That's where you make all your gains.
Yeah.
I really don't advise people to hire a coach just for the cut. They have no idea what you've done for 3/4 of the year. So to me, it makes no sense to hire someone for 12 weeks where they're gonna shake everything that you've done.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it. People want to do it because they want to save money and they think they've done a lot of good work in the off season. When truthfully, coaching is almost like, especially if you're a competitor, it's a year-round thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's a year-round thing. I don't fire my coach in the off season and hire him at 20 weeks out.
Agreed.
I've been working with my coach consistently. We're going on 3 years now, I think. And us, we're going on year 2.
Yeah.
Right? We're wrapping up year 2, and it is what it is. Like, your coach learns your body, and these are things that, happen over a year, and the body changes from year to year, from show to show.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, why would you get rid of your coach to save a few bucks and to look mediocre on stage because you only hired him for like a portion of what matters. I get it. People are very tight with their money, but if you want to be active in the sport and you want to go far, find a coach and commit to it for the time that you're actively competing, year to year, all year, or don't be in the sport.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Don't be in the sport with the ambition of going far if you're just going to rotate your coach in and out when it's convenient for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
All right.
So, with that being said, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
New goals ahead, and we're going to smash them like we smash every other goal.
Absolutely. We'll have fun now.